State as well. And you'll agree with me that Nigerians and indeed the people of Kaduna State have a lot of concern with the present state of governance, particularly with respect to security issues and also genuine concern for the people of Nigeria and Kaduna State indeed. For instance, today, students have been out of school, tertiary institutions, for quite a number of months. And we're talking about the future of a country. And that cradle that is containing these future leaders, it has cracked, and there is no semblance of a plan for the future, keeping students at home for several months and then paying attention to frivolities and things that have no direct bearing in the lives and impact of the people. So we have a gloomy future. It is bleak. We don't have a future going with the current situation in the country. And likewise in Kaduna State, where you can see people wake up and don't even know what will happen tomorrow. You can no longer plan in Nigeria, in Kaduna State as well. Quietly, the price of PMS has been smuggled and increased. It started like a joke. There was a time the government of the day was boasting, we have no queues on our petrol stations and all that. Before you know it, in the last 4 or 5 months, it's been terrible. There is no power, there is no PMS, gas is on the very high side. Now, if you want to do what we call a matching concept with earnings and expenses on key items that a common man will require to live, it is not there. And talk less of the state of security. People don't go to sleep with their 2 eyes closed anymore, because the kind of bandits we have are so bold. They come into the city, they break into homes, they knock at your door. If you don't open, they break your wall, they go in, and they cut away human beings like they will cut away cattle, goats and hens, and begin to negotiate. And then we have a government in place that has turned away her eyes from this.
So the NNPP presenting itself to the people, what is the
The
thing about the
NNPP is the credible alternative platform that Nigerians have been yearning for. There is no single Nigerian that goes to pray on his knees in the morning that will not ask God to bring a way out. Both the Christians and the Muslims. And behold, the name New Nigeria. Everybody is singing a song, oh God, we need a new Nigeria. And from the name, and if you look at the characteristics and all that we have, it's what the Nigerian people want. We are sitting on a 3-block, which is progress, equity, and peace. These 3 blocks make a lot of sense. If you want to delve into it and talk about it, it will take you days. Talking about peace, equity, and progress. These things have disappeared in the current state of the country in Nigeria. There is no peace as a result of so many indices. There is no equity, no concern for the common man. And it is the common man that has the largest population that is required to give a vote to any governor or any president. At the end of the day, policies are not tailored towards the improvement of the life of the common man. So the NNPP is that party that has come, that is going to have a program that will have direct bearing in the lives of the common man. We're talking about creation of jobs. We're talking about diversification to improve our economy. That the common man, for once, even if he is not a civil servant, from his daily tradings, he will make earnings, and the government will now go to him and take some tax and fix whatever they want to fix. As it is today, let's look at Kaduna State. When we are talking about the common man, With the intention of the urban renewal, the common man has been deprived of his daily bread and other sources of income. So what we have as a tax picture in Kaduna State, though realistic, may not be sustainable. Because what the government has succeeded in doing is working backwards. The review taxes that have not been claimed, what we call tax arrears audit, to look back and claim. And today, in a short time, that will fizzle out. And the real economy or IGR that would have been generated is from the common man. So what you call robbing Peter to pay Paul is what has happened, or penny wise, pound foolish. Concentration on urban renewal while cleaning out or sending away the larger economy produce, which is the common man, daily trading and all that, that trickles come and form a pool, has finally been sent away. So what are we talking about? Now the common man does not have an environment where he can peacefully go about his businesses that the government can rely upon by way of generating revenues and all that. So Nigeria is a country that requires a critical attention, somebody that has the requisite experience. Our presidential candidate has done it in Kano, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, PhD, FNSC. You know, if you know what Kano was, and you know what Kano has been under his tenure, is it about the education, which is the key thing? When you educate a child, you have given him the key to unlock every potential that will enhance his livelihood in the whole world. And that has gradually disappeared by making, not paying attention to ASU. And so our students, if you are not rich, only the rich send their children to private universities, which churns up, you know, millions of naira as school fees. Where does the common man end that kind of a thing? And the common man's minimum wage is 30,000 naira. Today, I heard that the Bakers Association want to go on strike or whatever. Because bread, which is even the most common thing that is affordable to the common man, is no longer, it's not a big luxury. So where is the place of the common man? And if you look at the population of Nigeria, about 200 million or so, the common man is about 190 million. So what is the place for him, for goodness sake? Our young men, who form about 70% of the population, many of them are jobless. And there are quick fixes that the government can pay attention to with a view to quickly reviving a position where Nigerians will have as a succor within a short time of 3, 4 years and 6, 8, we will be back on track and we will have Nigerians that are happy and smiling. But first, we need to have a country, Nigeria, before any other thing can take place. And so, if we're talking about the political sphere, a party that will take a position along one religious side does not mean well for the country. Inasmuch as we are supposed to live together, respect for one another, but aligning and say something happened 30 years ago. When I was listening to the man that was unveiled yesterday, I laughed. What happened 30 years ago, you cannot repeat it today. Nigeria is in a very, very serious situation. We need to have a Nigeria first before you talk of economy revitalization, before you talk about infrastructure building, before you talk about even going to church and practice your religion. Now, everybody is angry. Everybody is living in fear. Before you travel from here to Abuja, you have to maybe fast for 2 or 3 days and beg God that this journey will be peaceful. And not only that, even security men are being abducted. So you can see we have a monster in our country and we are pretending as if all is well. The Bible says, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Can't we pull ourselves a bridle and take a review of our current situation and make amends, and rather we are taking a position simply because the kind of leaders we are having today don't care about the common man. Why are they so desperate? If we can decolorize all the inflows that accrue to leaders, maybe very few, you beg some to say come and they will say no. But there is something they are trying to pursue, either to protect business concerns, to ego satisfaction, or whatever. But those cardinal requisites for a true leader is not seen anywhere. We are talking about accountability. We are talking about transparency. We are talking about selflessness. We are talking about equality. We are also looking at a spread that will touch the common man's life. Nobody cares about him. Policies are made to satisfy a certain class and not the common man. So our hearts are bleeding. Nigeria has been in a prolonged hemorrhage. Nigeria is in what we call life support and need ventilators to bring it back alive. And I pity whoever is going to take over government in Kaduna State, because there are things that are not spelled well. Our physical state is questionable. There is something wrong with our state of finance. And that is why you can see that true transparency and accountability is not there. Something is missing in between. Although we are desirous of taking, it's better we come in and stop it and see how we can rebuild. But I want to tell you, if you want to match our indebtedness and the plans, which I think in August or so, the loans that were taken, both domestic and international loans, will need to begin to be repaid. There is going to be a serious crisis as regards to paying salaries and attending to other things. Not to talk of contractors who have worked and have not been paid. If you go around, you'll see certain works have stopped somehow. So many things are wrong. We need true leaders who will be true in deed and in words. And let us remember, we will appear before God to give account of what we have been given as responsibility. It is a matter of trust. The people trust and say, this is our mandate to you. And you take it, you are supposed to give an equal, trust back. The third law of motion says for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In this one, it is not so. The law of motion is not being respected in this case. So there is a lot that calls for concern in today's
Honorable
political
Ben Kure, State Chairman, New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Kaduna State. We'll hear more of that. But before we go on this program, let's just do a political roundup, so to say, and what is happening around us in the political arena. We'll do that, and then we'll come back to, again, Ben Kure, and we'll get more from him.
Still the program, the agenda, and here is a commentary on the 2023 general elections, the monster called vote buying. The conduct of last Saturday's Osun State governorship election has shown a continuous improvement in the electoral fortunes of our country, thanks to the Amendment Electoral Act 2022, which has introduced new innovations and technology that has increased the integrity of the process. The election was hailed by both local and foreign observers as largely free, fair, and credible. However, one monster that has continued to rear its ugly head in the electoral process has been the nagging issue of vote buying, despite the presence of anti-graft agencies. The public will recall that recently similar widespread incidents were reported in the June 18, 2022 governorship election in Ekiti State. However, in Osun State, we witnessed a a subtler but sophisticated method where the use of coupons was covertly used instead of openly giving out cash, as was prevalent in Ekiti. While the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the nation's electoral body, continues to look for ways of improving the electoral process so as to give confidence to citizens on the integrity of elections in Nigeria, as witnessed in Osun State. Politicians have continued to outdo themselves by fashioning out diverse ways of compromising the process to score political victory. Keen observers believe that to check the issue of vote buying, there is a need to quickly establish the Electoral Offences Commission, a body whose responsibility will include prosecuting electoral offenders in the electoral process. This is because many believe that INEC, as presently constituted, will be overburdened to effectively try and prosecute electoral offenders. In view of this, keen observers will recall that the upper chamber of the National Assembly, the Senate, in November last year, passed into law the Electoral Offences Commission Bill, while the bill only scaled second reading in the House of Representatives last month. Nigerians are eagerly waiting for the National Assembly to quickly pass the harmonized version of the bill so as to pass it onto the President for assent into law before the 2023 general elections. While we await strong punitive measures against electoral offenders, it is important to remind citizens that the war against vote buying will only succeed when all hands are on deck to defeat it. Since vote buying involves those willing to buy as well as those willing to sell their votes, perhaps the most effective strategy will be to mobilize citizens who will reject the offer from politicians, or if they must collect, which is not encouraged, they are urged to still vote their conscience. The 2023 general elections provides an opportunity for Nigerians to vote in credible leaders based on the capacity to address critical governance and developmental challenges confronting us into the various elective offices in the land. Such an important duty must therefore be with greater citizens' commitments with the bigger goal of building an egalitarian society in view. Resisting vote buyers will be one of the greatest feats of citizens in 2023.
You just had the commentary there, and of course, I would also, appreciate, your questions and comments to come from our commentaries and all that we'll be discussing here in the studios. Before we go on, let's just go to the markets. Get our commercial break here. We'll come back.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Victor FM.
Honey, must you go?
Babe, you know I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network. Whenever you hear, welcome to Big Brother House.
Just know, say, the #1 show for Africa don't land, and this season 7, now up we they go. The drama and basketball no be here. Now entertainment all the way.
What did you ask?
No hiding place for Biggie House. The camera day on the action 247 live for 72 days. Now time to watch who go be the king or queen of BB Niger season 7 on Top Go TV.
Yes, so don't miss this BB Niger season 7 launch weekend. We go shell it for the 23rd and 24th of July by 7 p.m. on Top Go TV channel 29. Reconnect your Go TV today or get a decoder plus 1 month max subscription for 6,900 naira. Pere, headline sponsor, Pocket by Piggyvest, associate sponsor, Flutterwave.
Power and performance. That's what you get in every So Clean concentrated detergent pack. Power and performance. The essence of Paris Saint-Germain. With the concentration of powerhouse players, Kylian Mbappe, Neymar Jr., Lionel Messi, Sergio Ramos, and Achraf Hakimi. The partnership of concentrated power now forged. So Clean, the official regional partner of Paris Saint-Germain.
Power oil, power oil.
yalla bai barka da yamma da daren nan to shikenan ba komai ku dakata yau ba fa tashi sai mun gama aikin nan da daddaren nan to me zai hana mu warware hanji da ganyen shayin top tea mu ji daɗi ganyen shayin top tea ɗaya kacal mai inganci da ɗanɗano zai baka kofin shayi kwarara biyu sai a ɗanɗana domin gane kamshi na kwarai da nishaɗi zamantakewa da kuma ɗaukaka ɗanɗana domin sanin top tea.
The families of late Alhaji Shuaib Adesanya and that of Supul Haruna Garba, Turakin Sabon Garin Rigasa, cordially invites friends and relatives to the wedding fatiha of their children, Abdulazim Adesanya and his bride Nana Firdausi Haruna, which will inshallah take place on Saturday 23rd July 2022 at number 7 Nuhu Wali Street, Makarfi Road, Rigasa, Kaduna. Time 11 a.m. prompt. Come one, come all. Announcer, bride and groom's family.
Shin an yanke layinka ne sakamakon rashin haɗa katin shaidarka ta National Identification Number NIN da layinka na MTN? Karka damu, idan har kana da NIN ga hanyoyi mafi sauki da zaka bi. Na ɗaya, danna *785#. Na biyu, rubuta National Identification Number ɗinka wato NIN ta text zuwa 785. Na uku, ziyarci manhajar My MTN NG app. Na hudu, ka tattauna da Ziggy a lambar WhatsApp 090300000001. Na biyar, shiga www.mtn.ng. Idan kuma baka da katin shaidar ɗan ƙasa wato NIN, kai tattaki zuwa shagon MTN ko ofishin NIMC na kusa da kai. Ko kuma ka shiga shafin MTN a baka ranar zuwa. Maza abi ɗaya daga cikin matakan nan da wurwuri, damar tana nan har yanzu ba. Ma tambaye ku, shin yau me za mu yi ne?
The Agenda. The Agenda is a public enlightenment program designed to give power back to the people through promoting political participation, issue-based campaigns, and social accountability. The Agenda is a weekly program of active citizens by active citizens for all citizens, featuring in-depth analysis, news commentary, and issue-based interviews with stakeholders in governance and electoral process. The Agenda is about you, the listener, your power to determine who leads you, setting the agenda for public office seekers and holding them accountable. The Agenda, mobilizing citizens to meaningfully engage the 2023 general elections by making sure those seeking their votes have real intentions of true representatives. Tune in every Thursdays at 9 a.m. on Invicta FM 98.9. Join the conversation via phone-in and comment on our social media handles. Powered by Partnership for Issue-Based Campaigns in Nigeria, PICAN, and Invicta FM 98.9, Kaduna. The Agenda. Nigeria. My agenda.
Welcome back. It's the agenda this morning, and also trust here this morning will be on the imperatives of issue-based campaigns. And this program, like we said, is organized by Partnership for Issues-Based Campaigns, Nigeria, and with Invicta as partners. I also have in the studios Lawrence Obewe and Yusuf Goji on this program. So I'll come to you, Yusuf Goji. Yes. Ben Kuri, Honorable Ben Kuri, with us this morning. He is the state chairman of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. So, shoot.
All right. I don't have a gun. All right. So thank you, Mr. Ben, for giving us a brief background of what the issues are. And at this point, we want to begin to dissect these issues more deeper, to look at them based on their merit. And one of the focus of this program is really to discuss issues and the agenda of every government. And that is why we went back to the manifesto of your party to really look at what, as a party, have you said you would do when giving to party, when giving power in Kaduna State, and probably will localize the discussion to Kaduna State, where is of our immediate concern. So looking at your party manifesto, you have a number of objectives. I think almost 22 of them, but we'll just take like 3 to set the background of our conversation. One, it says to ensure adequate protection of lives and properties of all within and outside Nigeria. Then we go to objective 5, which states to provide basic necessities of life. 1, quality mass education, free primary health care, food and water, housing, roads, security, economic empowerment for all Nigerians. And those are the 2 major objectives that we are looking out for. And again, to a large extent, when I saw these objectives, I was now asking how feasible is these objectives as they are. Considering where we are, for example, in Kaduna State, you talked about the loan issue, where per capita debt in Kaduna State is about 32,000 naira. So it means every resident of Kaduna State is owing 32,000 naira, 2,000 naira above the minimum wage. And as we have it, then you have a situation where if you look at the contribution of small businesses to our revenue, it's also alarming, almost insignificant at the end of the day. And that is the mainstay of all developed economies in terms of revenue generation. Then you also have a situation that you have an unemployment crisis, if I'll use that word, and underemployment. There is about 67%. You have poverty at 43%, and you have a largely dependent population with about 67% of the population below 35. Majority of them don't have work. Majority of them are still dependent. So it means that government must provide for this category of people. Then we look at inflation in Kaduna State is higher than national inflation. Year on year is 16%, while month on month inflation is 18%, according to the Bureau of Statistics here in Kaduna State. So I'm using all of these facts to ask how your party would be able to implement this laudable, very sweet hearing objectives that have been captured in your manifesto. So I just want to use that to start the conversation before we look specifically at security. We'll look specifically at health, education, and these critical sectors, because we are not looking at APC now. We are looking at your party now. The focus is on your party. What will you do? How would you do it? So we just want your views on this, considering this very tight situation that we find ourselves. You talked about debt service of 12 billion. Next year is increasing to 15 billion. Upper year, I think, is either 18 or so billion. So it's increasing. And if you look at the current budget of 2022, the government wants to borrow about 70-something billion. Then next year, 2023, in the MTF, they are saying they want to borrow another 30-something billion. Put together, that's over 100 billion naira between this year and next year. If you add it to the 307 billion and the services, debt services that would accrue to that, where would your party get the money? Or what innovation are you going to bring to carry out these laudable incentives, the laudable objectives that your party has put out?
Well, thank you very much, Yusuf. These are very, very pertinent and serious questions and also highlights from our manifesto. And first, our leader, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and others sat down to put all this together because it is a possibility and it is doable. Because if you review the leaders or the president in waiting by the grace of God, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, from his experience in Kano, they say charity begins at home, and the home is the first constituency. All you need to do is the principles on which you will apply into getting these things done, and you apply it on a global or a bigger space strictly, and you get it done. But before we can even build on all these things that have been highlighted, first we must have a country existing as Nigeria, which the number one primary responsibility as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is providing security. And it is worrisome and very disturbing to note that there was a time that the entire world, the United Nations, when there is a need of an army, the first point of call is Nigeria, because the Nigerian army is well trained and has a lot of experience in addressing issues that has to do with security. But here we are today. Sometime back, Nigerian Defense Academy, the citadel of military academic learning, was invaded by stark illiterates who have a will and power to move in, killed and abducted a major in the Nigerian army, and nothing happened. And here we are, government is negotiating or whatever. How that person was released, only God knows. So something is fundamentally wrong. The Bible says in Psalms 11 verse 3, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? There is something critical about our security architecture that requires will, which is very paramount. Those security issues cannot be discussed on a public domain as this, but I want to tell you that the man we have put in front to lead was one time a minister of defense in Nigeria under a government of Olusegun Obasanjo, a very strong, very, very audacious president we had then. And also, if you know Kano State, being one of the largest states in Nigerian economy as well, having held Kano, lost election and came back and won and brought it to orderliness and all that, you know that the man has what it takes to put up a security architecture that will be redefined, and we are going to have security indeed. I want us to have this understanding. It's not something I'm going to say in the public domain like I said earlier on, but we all know that before any other thing can be put on the table or to become realistic, we have to address our security issues, which also takes us to other issues that we're talking about, without which we cannot. One of the quickest ways out into ameliorating our predicament or our situation of joblessness and poverty-ridden country and states is the issue of agriculture. If this government had concentrated on improving or having a hybrid of technology in agriculture, many of our jobless young men would have had parcels of land where they will farm. Fertilizers are being provided. Today, fertilizer is about 30,000, almost the minimum wage. So how many fertilizers will you require for a portion of land that you will need to farm, for instance, rice or cassava or maize? How do you do that? What magic will you do to get that? We don't also have the organic fertilizer to use. It's not available. Cattle are being roasted. You cannot just do anything. So before any other thing, this security issue must be deliberate. With our consciences, we have to address it hook, line, sinker. We must take the bull by the horn. It is a collective responsibility, and government has a primary role into addressing this security issue. We should not gloss over it. When we talk about it, it should be a serious thing. Not long, the prisons or the corrective home was invaded. If you look at the entire scenario, it is laughable, it is pitiable, it is worrisome and very disturbing. How on earth will this kind of a thing happen? Now, you know, the insecurity has become a situation where, to your tent, O Israel, nobody is taking any responsibility. You are the one that will be responsible for your security. But the big men can afford carrying police and whatnot to cover them from here to Abuja with their families, and the common man is left to his own. Only God. But again, the Bible says, if it is not the Lord that watches, those that do so do in vain. But first, there is a need for the human being to make concerted efforts and do what is required that the people will have peace. What happened? How did we find ourselves in this situation? Is a serious question that we need to ask. But again, like I said, tabling it as a key criteria in our manifestos is something that first must be addressed. That is why it is the number one to be attended to, and then all other things will come to be. So we're looking at agriculture, we're looking at skills acquisition, because it is the civil service work is not there to contain the pressure of the jobless people. So we have to look out at things we can use our skills into quick fix. It's going to be a quick fix. Although we have programs like the appeals, which never, I don't think it has seen the light of the day. Some are still waiting to get the disbursement, and we're talking about repayments already. So you see, government will come with programs, but following it to its logical conclusion is the problem, because self comes to be. We need a government that will be selfless and a government that will lead truly, and not a government of friends and family, where most of these loans that we're talking about, the infrastructure we want to do and what we have done, if you look at honestly how this has been done, there is something that is missing, the true transparency on how the disbursement and the actualization of these things were done. They are not too open to the public to see and criticize.
Yes,
We're
sir.
only told.
Yeah.
So we have unemployment as a very serious issue, our debt profile as a serious issue, and talking about loans. Which commercial bank, for goodness sake, will look at the debt profile? When you are giving loan, you have to do an appraisal and see the way out. If any right-thinking commercial bank will review what Kaduna State has, I think they will reserve their comments and not be willing to give any loan. So we should be wary of taking loan. Rather, we should concentrate and deal with what we have now and see how we can get out of it, instead of thinking of borrowing more money to add to the injuries that we already have. Just like I said, I pity the government that will come in, could be the NMPP, but the way out, we really have to stand strong and do that. Because, like we said, per capita, we have 32,000, 2,000 above the minimum wage is a very tall order and a very serious thing. It is a precarious situation that we all have to have a reflection on, and then we take these things head on. So, truly speaking, we are going to focus on agriculture. First, we need to be able to even survive as a country. To have, now people don't have 3 square meals anymore. Children are being deceived. Mother will put a pot on the fire and tell them something is under, and so hope will keep them alive and waiting. At the end of the day, only 1 square meal, and they go to bed. They are already weak. After eating, they are heavy. Sleep comes, and the next day, we have to do something critical, which we have outlined. But the basis for this is the security that must be addressed.
All right,
if
sir.
that
Sorry,
is the only thing we
we
can even achieve in the first phase of the government, we have covered so much, and then we will build. So there is nothing wrong with having a vision to look at what you intend to do in its practical terms, addressing the security issue that has come and has eaten deep to the fabrics and to the roots of this country. It's not a 1-year program. Neither it can take a whole government 4 years to address, I tell you, because it's a serious thing. So all Nigerians have to put hands on deck. We have to blow the whistle, and the government must stand tall to it. And also, one of the things that has hindered us into attaining success in addressing this, to my opinion. Those that have been caught and said, before you know it, they are being released. There is none that has been brought. That
Sorry, sir, I want to
prosecuted.
digress a bit.
Okay.
Yes, because we want to look at specifics for Kaduna and what your party will do. I know that very sure some of the analysis you're giving are apt, and a lot of Nigerians are already aware of these issues and these challenges. But your party is coming in to say we are an alternative from what is perceived not to be working well. So our specificity is saying your party, for example, insecurity, their classical approach, classified approach, sorry, where it is not meant for the general public to consume. But there are also other approaches that would include citizens' participation and involvement. So looking at those kind of areas, what things in specific, because looking at the quarterly security report of the Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, they said in the first quarter of 2022, 360 people were killed, about 258 people were injured, about 1,389 were kidnapped, and animals that were rustled around 3,251, and 10 persons were raped. So these are Kaduna specific issues, and we know that your party at the national level have their plans, and for Kaduna State we know you're also aspiring to have a governor in Kaduna State from your party. So when your candidate eventually wins, if Kaduna State agrees that he is the best among the equal and vote him, what would he do differently? Because this government has spent, I think, close to 30 billion naira on security already from 2016 to date. Sorry, not spent, allocated, because we don't have information of the cash backing. So they have allocated, based on the budget analysis we did, close to 30 billion on security. They've brought technology and all of that, and they've also brought a peace commission. So what would your party do differently that is not happening now? Then maybe if my colleague will also add to that question on security now, so that we take them one by one. We'll also come on agriculture and other sectors for Kaduna State. Yeah.
Okay, so just in addition to what he just said, you know that they will tell you when it comes to security, they say you buy gun, you hire more boots, you increase salary to incentivize these security personnel. And we have bought to Kano everywhere. We have done a whole lot in our quest to be able to arrest the security situation, but it seems not to be working. And I want to know, are there additional things you think that can be done to be able to improve security in Nigeria? Because as you said, that's the foundation. That's the foundation of everything. If you talk about agriculture, people have to be able to go to their farms. We have seen students in the educational sector abducted or killed. So there is apprehension when children leave their homes that they are going to school. So security is like an umbrella that covers a society. So if you don't get security right, you are not likely to get any other thing right in the state. So what do you think are the measures, additional measures that the government can bring on board if you are eventually elected to be able to tackle these security situations?
Okay, thank you very much. Being specific, coming down to Kaduna State and reflecting on the situation with a view to addressing these issues. First, you know, they say an idle mind is a devil's workshop. For what this influx of insecurity or bandits, you see, in Hausa, there's a saying that Chinyagi said at Dangari. We have quite a large number of young men who are idle, who don't have money, because no provision government has shied away or has not addressed these issues with attending to the pressure of joblessness and all that. So the young men, one, they can't go to their farms because there's an issue, and so nothing. So what they find easy is a collaboration with these bandits and become accessory, and then access are there. Gone were the days, some years back before the emergence of the government of the day, we have what we call district heads and village heads For any stranger that comes into that environment, he is known. He is invited, they make inquiries, and they know. One day, government woke up and sacked these men out of jobs. And so who is left to do this work? One man covering a very large expanse without enough money to fuel his vehicle. If not now, the vehicles are being given before they don't even have what it takes to move. Security is an expensive venture, or taking care of it. You need to fuel, you need to go around, you need to give some money or stipends to those you are charging with this responsibility. As a local government chairman, then we design what was going to work for us, and we did. We had to come together with some young men. We worked and kept watch hours to hours, 6 hourly or whatever, provided whistles, torchlights and whatnot, food, and also encouraged them to be patriotic. When you are patriotic, it's because you believe in your country and what your country is doing, and you're also ready to give in your life for that country or that state or that village. So we came together and saw Jaba as our own home. And there is nothing we can do that is too much for the protection of the lives of our people. Today, we are going first to come in because we are going to have a new government by the grace of God. So there's a departure from that mindset of the existing government that, so to say, has brought pain, that has brought sorrow to the people. And so they are looking into a new direction, and so they will be willing. We are going to visit the issue of district heads that have been sacked, village heads, because they are very useful. These monies that you spend in billions, if you apportion it to these district heads, village heads, and recruit young men that are jobless, these monies are enough to keep them because they know they are going to work and for the peace and security of their lands, so that their women can go to farm and men and their children can go to school and everybody can have something doing. And then once again, we are going to have a local government, we are going to have a state, we are going to have a country. So if we have that in pockets across the entire 23 local governments, then I'm sure we are having a win-win situation across. So any leakage or access to where this bandit and whatever, and that collaboration that they do have will no longer exist, because young men are occupied now. There's a data we're going to generate. You get them involved. It is an issue of inclusiveness. Make them understand this is their home. They are part of this government, and of course something to go to them. So you can design a uniform, or these are quick fixes that they feel a sense of belonging and inclusion. And for God's sake, you have fired district heads and village heads, so nobody is responsible. Everybody is just looking at it because, except of course those that have no choice, that they because of the situation, this thing will overwhelm everybody. But the government needs to recognize this and attach this with responsibility to say, in this village, this person and that person and that person will be. And quite a number of people that have been sacked. What else do you want them to do? They pose a security threat. You see, anybody that is doing nothing, first, there's little kobo he will have, he's going to buy tramol. He's going to take something. There is anger, there is pain. And what he sits down thinking is what quick to do. So they become vulnerable and access to whatever thing that is being suggested. So once these things are addressed, we are on the path to getting it right. So there are quite a number of things I don't want to, but just to tell you that we know what we are saying, and it's something we are ready and we are going to do by the grace of God.
Thank you very much, sir. So we'll just take other sectors quickly, because I know listeners are also urging to also ask you questions and comments. So we would like to quickly look at education. Your party manifesto said you provide free and compulsory education at the primary, secondary school level, and free tuition at the tertiary level, supplemented by general student bursaries in all institutions. So that is what your party is saying. And currently we have a system where Kaduna State budgets about 27% to education. The government has said they have renovated a lot of the schools and what have you, and they have made school, according to government, free from, I think, primary to secondary school level. School is now compulsory and so I'm just pointing out this so that we see the difference. But currently the challenge in Kaduna now is that Kaduna State has a total of 5,312 public schools, made up of 4,489 primary and pre-primary and primary schools, while we have 429 junior secondary schools. We have 370 senior secondary schools and 24 science and technology schools. These schools have a total of about 2.3 million students, taught by about 47,000 teachers in Kaduna State. When I said teachers, I saw you smiling. So, but out of these schools, 4,005 are in urban areas, while about 484 are in rural locations. The total number of usable classrooms housing these people is just 20,000, while 8,000 classrooms, that is 38%, are in need of major repairs as of today. Then, disturbingly, 17,000 classrooms, that is 78%, are without sufficient seating provision, that is chairs and tables. Similarly, about 12,000 classrooms are without good blackboards, that is 36% of the total number. In addition, 1,500 schools are holding some classes outside, that is outside in the public view, that is 35%. And also about 3,000 schools, that is 67%, are without a health facility. Then currently we have about 500,000 pupils out of school in Kaduna State. So this is the challenge that your government is coming to confront, with the situation that we know that we don't have this fiscal space, enough money to provide. So what is your government going to do differently? Then I don't know if my colleague will add so that we will answer the question.
Okay, I just wanted to add the classroom to pupil ratio in Kaduna. By the statistics is read is 100 people per class. And we know that that's far above the international threshold ratio for that. So how do you try to reduce that? That's one. Then two, if you look at it, almost less than 10% of the schools that he has just read out are the ones in the rural area. And we know that majority of the citizens of Kaduna stay in rural areas. So how do you balance this school?
Yeah. So this data I read out, just for people who would ask where did you get it, is from the annual school census of Kaduna State 2020, which is the current one being in use.
Well, thank you very much, Yusuf and Lawrence. I want to thank you for making out time to do this research and come up with this data that is verifiable and realistic. Now, with this alone, you know Kaduna is in a very, very critical situation. Education is the bedrock of anything. And particularly, we are not even talking about tertiary, we are talking about foundational education. During my days in Capital School, we were 22 in the class to a teacher. Today we have 100, where the teacher is not even sure of his salary, so his coming to school may not be regular. Sometime last month, I decided to go with this same concern. It took me about an hour to go to Kurum in Kaduna. It is in Igabi local government. The moment I got there, I was bleeding in my heart. I couldn't control tears from my eyes. I saw in them presidents, governors, but without the requisite platform, it will only be a dream and end there. Kurmin Kaduna is one of the areas that gave a lot chunk of votes to this government. But they have forgotten that place, don't even know if there's a government. No boat, nothing. Rainy season, they are on their own. They may just be forced to stay at home. Yes, I know government has churned out a lot of money for renovations and what have you. But the first thing we will do when we come on board is to set up a period and quickly go round again to have a physical assessment of the situation on ground and truly do a needs-based assessment of what every local government and all this require. Then we sit down and begin to review. It is no magic. There is no magic you can do about this. Today, 20,000 are sacked. Tomorrow, 10,000 are required. Why do you need to be sacking and resacking when you can spend money to give them basic training and let them go back? Because something is there. Already they have an idea of what to do. All they need is, because there is no training and retraining. Once teachers are hired, they are just left there. No improvement. And in the past, even a cobbler is hired to be a teacher. So even government misdeeds was there. It added to all these things that we have come to experience. And so today, something must be done quick. The number is so high that, honestly speaking, everybody must put hands on deck. There were times where people have to volunteer. We are going to look at some voluntary style or kind of a teaching to come, and we will look at it and see how we can really address this issue. You cannot come out with a clear line to say this is what you are going to do and then work it, because this government said so many things and only leaves so much to be desired in terms of education. We have a serious issue here, and we have to address it. It is very key. You see, this education and health, they are primary things that we have to concentrate, particularly maternal mortality, infant mortality. This and education, primary education, are very, very serious. Because in the next 20 years, these young men will be 30 and we may be alive and not alive. If you have not planned anything for them, you know that you have only succeeded in killing the state and the country itself. So whether we like it or not, something definite, something positive, something drastic must be done with a view to addressing this. I am 51. In January, I'll be 52. If you add 10, 15 years to me, if I'm still alive, I'm weak, I'm tired, there's little that I can do. And these ones that are 10, if you add 20, they are the ones that are supposed to sit in the State House of Assembly and take decisions. And nothing is planned for them, then we have already succeeded in creating a deep hole that everybody will sink. So to the wealthy people that have acquired so much wealth, it is now time for you to say, government, let's sit down. I am doling out this amount, but I want to see a sincere way of how you are going to utilize it. So many that have taken it out, find a way of bringing these monies back. Because it is these people's money that you are privileged to be in power, that you converted to your personal use, and today is not going to help you. It's going to sink the entire state and country down. So men that are privileged and opportune to be in power, who have taken and have hidden it somewhere, it is now for you to come back to your senses and see what you can do to the immediate community and say, we have taken it with the right hand, let's bring it back with the left hand in a way. Because government alone, up till today, Kaduna State Revenue has not surpassed what they are making as in federal allocation. So forget about what government can do, please. But we have individuals that are richer than government. We are going to appeal. They that are listening to me should listen well. Because a time will come where this population that we have refused to help will rise up. They don't need to carry gun. They will just stand and say, bring it, by hook or crook. And when you bring, they are just going to eat. But if you bring out what you have stolen, or what you have taken illegally, maybe they don't want the word steal, what you have borrowed to just fantasize, bring it back. Let us see how we can put them to use properly. If we don't do it now, something very serious is going to happen very soon, where everybody will be running helter-skelter. Already, we're in a situation, but I tell you, we can do it. There are quite individuals that are richer than government. You are keeping it for what? Remember that there is something called death. It will come and take you. And those ones you gather for who don't even know how you gathered it will spend it uselessly. So bring it back so that your sins will be forgiven. Yes. That is why there's a word called restitution. Say, I am sorry. This was borrowed just for fantasy. I'm bringing it back. Bring them, let us reallocate them and see how we can fix this country together.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just to say that we would call stealing. There's not borrowing, as long as it doesn't belong.
It's to encourage them to bring it back. Well, stealing is stealing,
yes,
that's the truth.
Yes.
Whether you steal 1 kobo or 1 billion, you are a thief.
Yes, that's the name.
And whether you do it in a style or whatever, your conscience is telling you have stolen.
Yes.
You've only been privileged to be in power. Please return it. It doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, so we'll just look at health and agriculture quickly, and just briefly to round up this session so that we can go back to other participants and segments for them to also make input. So for health, we know that Kaduna State also has been allocating 15% of the annual budget, I think, since 2018-2019. And the government has also popularized the 255 primary health care centers in Kaduna State and what they have done. But some statistics are also giving us not a very pleasant situation. For example, the 2018 Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey shows that Kaduna has some of the worst health outcomes in Nigeria due to inadequate health funding. This is characterized by poor primary and secondary healthcare services, high out-of-pocket expenditure, which is almost 80% for Kaduna State. You have people spending up to 80% of their income on health that naturally should be almost free for citizens. Then inadequate medical equipment, human resources, and all of that. Then you have a situation where the survey says that the state has the worst neonatal mortality rate in Nigeria, which is 63 per 1,000 births. The fourth worst in terms of infant mortality, that's 97 per 1,000 live births. The sixth worst for under 5 mortality, that is 187 per 1,000 live births. So you have issues that about 237 primary healthcare centers have largely very low quality or qualified nurses to attend to patients and all of that. So that's the scenario for the health sector. So on one hand, we want to hear what your party will do. Then just quickly for agriculture, your party is saying you ensure adequate provision of agric inputs, especially fertilizer, improve seedlings, herbicides, as well as access and feeder routes and all of that. And you know that one policy that is currently ongoing in Kaduna State is the removal of government in the fertilizer subsidy regime in Kaduna State. So it's open to the market. Again, we've seen very low allocation in terms of budgetary allocation to the agric sector in Kaduna State, which does not meet the Maputo declaration of 10% of your budget. In 2017, I think about 2.6%. 2018, we had almost the same amount, 2.3, 2019, 1.2%, 2020, 0.9, 2021, 4.6, which was as a result of including the appeals funds in the budget which inflated it. Then 2022, 1.1% of the total budget was allocated to agriculture. So want to know for these two sectors, maybe my colleague, if he has also one question to add, then we can now move to the other conversation.
I think one of the things that you notice, especially from the agriculture, is the fact that government has concentrated on the multinationals and the big holder farmers. But we know that for any economy to make inroad, that concentration must be on the small holder farmers. So the statistics is showing you that government is concentrating on the big companies that will come and do farming in the country. But you know that those small farm holders, more importantly, generate employment as well as producing food. So how do you balance again between the big holder farmers and the small holders?
So the data again is from the annual budgets of Kaduna State for people that want to confirm and do their analysis here.
Well, again, I can't help but to keep thanking you, because in you I see patriotic Nigerians and lovers of Kaduna State. Why you are doing this? Because you are not satisfied with the current situation. You want to see a quantum leap towards a positive direction for creating a new life for Kaduna State. God bless you for this. I wish our leaders and aspiring leaders will have your kind of mindset. Then we will just close our eyes and go to sleep, because we know we are going to be on a base that will bring about productivity and rejuvenation of life in the state. You see, there are just 4 key pillars that, if well attended to, Nigeria will be back to life. Because Kaduna State is like the heart of the country. If things are wrong in Kaduna, you can as well say it's wrong in Nigeria. If it is corrected, you can generalize and say Nigeria is moving directly. We're talking about security, education, now health and agriculture. If these are addressed, it will take care of the joblessness or employment situation that we have found ourselves in, and also a healthy country or states, as the case may be. You see, my parents are both medically inclined. I grew up, and that is why maybe we're so looking healthy and healthy. And just like you too, Yusuf, I know. I remember those days when we were growing up in Katsina. I was born in Katsina, and I know, we go to the hospital. Is one of the best places. One, the environment, you just want to be there because the air you breathe is clean. Now, when you go to our hospitals, you have to press your nose. You keep salivate. Is it? How do I call it? Nausea. Yeah. It's nauseating. That is the situation we found ourselves in today. There was a time when a pregnant woman is pregnant, she goes to the hospital, she's given lactogen from the hospital to go and drink. And when she gives birth, the government gives her lactogen, Cerelac, and all that to go home with. All she needs to do is just to come, and she gives birth and think, so what has gone wrong? There is no plan for the future, no forecast. Our government was just complacent, several governments we've had, and we have found ourselves where we are today. Looking and re-examining our health facilities, I think something is wrong somewhere. Where, like again I said, when we come on board by the grace of God, we must do a need assessment around the entire local governments and 255 wards. There was a time we were clapping hands for our government, which I was part of truly. It's a 255, whatever you call it. If you go today, it calls for a lot to be desired. Something went wrong somewhere. You see, when you say you are going to do something, you have to follow it to its logical conclusion and have a system that will monitor and ensure if there's a gap, you report back and pay attention to. But the leaders we have today that have been in power are self-servient, not selfless. That is one of the things that has underscored whatever thing you are thinking. This government, you see, in Kaduna would have recorded a very high AAA. But I don't know what is going to happen when this government leaves. What will people remember this government for? But nevertheless, we don't want to dwell on that. We want to focus on real issues, what we need to do to correct the many errors the government has done. It is what you call in Hausa marmari da ganesa. You see it, looks attractive when you are in. It's a whole thing entirely. It calls for concern. We are talking about realities. It just has about 7 months to go and give way to people who are going to do things with humanity. And when we say this, we mean it from the bottom of our heart. And we are ready to be criticized. We are going to be open. We are going to be transparent. And indeed, we are going to be accountable. When we are going to do anything, we will bring it out to people to see. We will engage the people. We will not assume. People that need gloves, you bring shoes for them and they have no business with it. That is what most has been done. You need to engage the people and know their current needs and tailor these things towards attending to their needs. Yes. You sink a borehole where somebody has no need for it. He has a beautiful well that brings water like the one that is flowing in Garden of Eden. And you just allocate frivolous funds and you sink a borehole and his cattle come and drink and go and all that. So, you see, there's a misplacement of priorities because you have not done a need-based assessment engaging the people, having a small community or citizens engagement to find out their needs, and you tailor it. So perhaps most of these things that we said we are going to do, we just misdirected funds, public funds, monies that were borrowed. Now, if these people that you are doing all these roads, there are no people, what is the beauty? Somebody, a stranger, will come and just settle. So you see, there are serious things that must be done. We have to order our priorities right. Is this the real thing that the people need?
Thank you, sir. Maybe the people will now have their say. Maybe the people will now have their say. So let's hear
quickly
from
again,
so that you can respond to them directly.
It's the agenda and setting the pace as it is, preparation or preparatory to 2023, what the people must know about parties that are coming on and what they have for the people. And this program is issues-based program. And so with us this morning, Honorable Ben Kure, State Chairman, New Nigeria People's Party, and NPP, Kaduna State. So we come to you now, the audience. What's it that has caught your imagination, has caught you, so to say, about the presentation of the State Chairman of the NNPP, that's talking about Honorable Ben Kure. Join us on these numbers, 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 800 989, 070 800 989. And we're streaming live on this program, so join us on our Facebook page too, on Invicta 98.9. Taking your calls now.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, this is Williams.
Williams, right?
Yes. Kaduna.
Okay, Williams, let's hear you.
May God bless this presenter. This guest that two people got today. May God bless you and bless all of you. Actually, I've analyzed what can be done in Nigeria as a whole. You can get leaders that is this way, the way your guest has just spoken. I think Nigeria is in its way to greatness. I pray that God will bring such leaders, such people to have this kind of heart that will come and govern this nation and the state. Thank you very much.
Williams, you're talking for and speaking for the NNPP kind of government you would want. All right, let's also. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, your moderators. Good morning, your guests. My name is Musa Bala. I'm calling from Kaduna.
Yes, Musa Bala.
Honorable Ben Kure, that is a very nice presentation. I'm very happy as you are very frank on the following matters. You made it boldly clear that the government alone cannot do it. And you wanted to invite the rich people to come in. That's one. Secondly, you talk about agriculture. as one of the best way out. That is a very lovely representation. And you still reiterate the fact that it will take government time to get it right. For that reason, all citizen hands must be on deck to ensure this is done. That is a very good presentation. The only area I want to ask you a question is about, you were blaming the current urban renewal that created jobless. Probably people that were training on the roads and the government get them out and construct roads. Are you telling me now that you bring them back to the road or what? Because I know our markets are being renewed and even the traders are being very, very happy about it. So, are you going to bring them back or what? That's my question for you.
Okay.
Good morning.
All right, Musa Bala, we got you. Let's also take one more call and then. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir. Tony Alade.
Good morning.
And good morning to your guest.
Good morning, sir.
Hello?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. My name is Comrade Gabriel Tezam, sir. What your guest has spoken very well, and we are praying that by the time, if by the grace of God, they are in power, they should try to implement what he said, because a lot of recording is being made on whatever he said. Now, on security, sir, I think what is missing there is, if you look at it from 2015 to date, there's no clear directive to these armed forces. Nothing. Even the last directive that the president gave when he was in Katna, that they should go after them. The directive I'm saying is that most of these service chiefs need to have gone. Let them get new hands, because in this government, the only person who resigned from this government was Kenny, the former minister of finance, when because of they say they want her NYC something. So she just suddenly resign and go. So what we are saying is that what are the government we're going to do different to make sure that this insecurity is at what is it now. Let it come to a conclusion. Then on the industries, if you look, Kaduna was second to Lagos, because that is my own constituency, the textiles. Almost all of them have closed, and nobody is saying anything. Since 2002, Kaduna Textile Limited closed with about 2,200 workers, and a recorded which I have 480 dead. Nobody is saying anything. So we are praying that you should take this thing into consideration, because by the time this thing is revived, a lot of youth, a lot of people are going to get jobs doing. And then finally, Baredico. I think when I went there to Baredico, in fact, the government has tried her best. For Kaduna State government, I must be frank. But what is there is that the thing is not free. In fact, I went to my eye problem. They say I should bring 24,000 naira. Up to today, I cannot be able to afford that. So I have to hold on, start to look for that money. So sometimes the government try in other area, and probably the people operating it may have their own force. So I pray that your government should put people in place that are going to monitor all the activity of the government of Nigeria. Thank you, Invita, for giving this golden opportunity.
Okay, Comrade Gabriel. All right, let's just come to you, Honorable Ben Kure, with the questions and the comments on the situation here.
Okay, thank you very much. First, Williams, I want to appreciate you also for appreciating and commending our little efforts here. We have nothing to do but to be frank and sincere to the people, because like when you get to see your doctor, if you don't tell him exactly what you feel, he cannot give you any accurate prescription. So we are before God and the men. We have to say it as it is, and that is the only way we can correct these things. Musa Bala, we also want to appreciate you and to take note of your comments about the collaboration with the people, agriculture, and everybody's business with respect to security. But you asked a fundamental question about the urban renewal. If you get me, I didn't condemn the work at all. It is a good thing, but the people that cover the largest portion of day-to-day business that brings accrual to a sustainable revenue generation have been displaced. You need to cite a place where you will send them to before going into this urban renewal. It's a good thing, but we want to have a win-win situation. True, you have talked about markets that have been built, but what is the rate of the rent? And who are the people that have been allocated this? it means you have to maybe trade off your son or your wife before you can pay these rents. We're talking about real situations, my brother. We have not condemned it, but let's be realistic. At the end of the day, it is a few people that have acquired this thing through different means and are going to give it out at a very high rate. So there should be control in some of these things that we are doing. Whatever you do, you consider the low man. What have you provided for him in his own location where it will be accessible? Or you provide a long-term arrangement for him to obtain loan, let government be the guarantor, and you get all that you need to do in terms of documentations. Over time, he makes his money and he pays off. Not a thing that you are putting a gun and he must go and dig the grave of his father and bring the skulls and the teeth that have remained and sell and then cough out. You don't do things like that. We are looking at how we can hold each other's hands and make our state a better place. When a leader in one of the Arabian countries was asked, he said, what is the secret? He said, we have excellent and selfless leaders. They even have a minister for happiness in Qatar. But what we have are leaders who have occupied offices. The first thing they look at, how will my wife, her brother, her sister will benefit? How will my son benefit? And you come and do all these things. People are watching. People know what is being done. We should know that we have to be accountable. And the people of Kaduna State should not be taken for granted. One day, you will need these people and they will not be there for you. And the time is coming soon. So please, let's be realistic. My brother, I didn't condemn the urban renewal. But what must be done should be done very, very well with a human face to it. If you are relocating people, first make a provision that is reasonable with a view to having something better for them, improving. Yes, we are okay if even the common man that you send out still contributes into whatever is happening in the... Because you have to go and look for him to buy his roasted fish or whatever. Do something decent, nice, that is affordable for them in a good location, and you give it a name. But not the kind of things that we have that they cannot afford. When you look at it seriously, you have a hub for them. Look for a place, do it nicely. These things can be done. That is how these things are being done.
All right, and on Comrade Gabriel.
Yes, I also want to talk about, it made mention about security. He said no clear directives. Well, I cannot comment so much on that because it is beyond what I can say. The man that is aspiring to be president, when he sits there, because of his requisite experience as Minister of Defense, knew what they did then. Because everybody knows Obasanjo as a no-nonsense man. When it comes, he nips it in the bud. And you can be assured that Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is a no-nonsense man. Go to Kano, that even his Karota were feared most and generated good revenue for the state. That most of the things he did, he didn't even borrow money, no loan. And these things are verifiable. Go to Kano, you see it today. So the man knows what to do. He knows how to create jobs. It is a possibility and it can be done. And it will also cascade down to our states by the grace of God.
Okay, Joe,
sorry, he talks about the textiles.
Yes.
I'm also worried that the textiles, we lived in Funtua and I saw the cotton board, the pyramids. Every day we go and we see what has happened. That is why we're talking about the agriculture, because we can have a local textile industry, and then once the environment is good, we are going to have partners who will come. It's just for government to have a good arrangement that these partners will come. Just like they did with Olam, this can be done with the textile industries. And again, we will now have a new Kakuri. Since the time Kakuri was built till today, it only grew worse. In fact, it is a slum, and I worry, and there is a lot of votes. That is the most important thing. They have plenty votes there. But government come, take the votes, and nothing is done for them. So my people out in Kakuri, gather yourselves, be assured that our government will sit with you and will find a solution to making something small, no matter how small, in respect to the textile, and by the grace of God we'll revive it. We can have little textile cottage by the side, and then eventually we'll grow into bigger ones that will create more jobs for our many young men.
Okay.
Baraudiko,
yes, quickly.
Talked about the hospital situation. I can tell that when I was executive secretary in SEMA, where I had to pick some people who were involved in an accident, some died at the spot, so many had broken. I took some to St. Gerard. When I got to Kakuri, no lights. I had to make a report to the governor, where the deputy governor had to quickly go and do some spot checks, you call them, to see, and that stepped up, situation in other hospitals like Tudunwada. At Barodiko, they were overwhelmed, and I was worried. I walked till like 4, 5 a.m. with these injured persons until I finally got a place where they were attended to before I got back home. That is how passionate we were and committed into saving lives of people. So I truly agree that our facilities need a lot of attention. The training of our staffs, and there are quite a number of them that have gone to schools, attended some basic health teachings that can be admitted or employed and be given certain basic trainings at certain levels to attend to certain issues. Well, we talk about the costs of medical treatments and all that. I can't say much, but there is something called inflation. You see what the inflation rate in Kaduna is quite high, even higher than that of the country. So it will not be diverse from what we are seeing in reality. All I'm saying, we all have to come together. Again, we have some of our big men who must come to rescue. It is now time to give back. You can pump in, say, I am pumping this money into medicals or health facilities or whatever. You see, when you are about to form government, you need to bring them to a table to sit and discuss, have honest discussions with them. Tell them that they need to, come and participate. Governance is not when you come to power, you elbow and send people away because you don't want them to know what you are doing. Tell them the truth. This is what we have. We cannot do it. We know you have this. We know you have that. Please come and make contribution. When monies come, we are going to sit down and we work together. We have to change the style of governance in Nigeria. We must make a departure from what is being done and change a new style so that the Hausa man will say, Mutaru Mutira Tare.
Okay, let's go on our Facebook page. And Joe, just one or two comments.
Okay, first one, Rose Ray says, very impressive, but I hope NNPP are not just smooth talking to get to power. That's the questions he's asking. And let's see. Peter James says, my question to the guest today is, what will his new party do different from what his previous party has done in the area of security and other aspects? And someone says, thanks for defecting to the NNPP. Chima Nachi says, some are clamoring that we should be taken back to 2014, which was not also palatable. That was why APC was voted in to bring austerity measure, but failed to do that. Right now, we are not asking to be taken back to 2015. What is the blueprint of the NNPP to provide austerity measure to curtail the economic plunge this administration has brought us?
Okay, that will just do, Joe. Honorable, a minute will do for us on that.
Okay, first, I want to thank Invicta for creating this platform. Secondly, my profound gratitude to Yusuf and Lawrence and your team for the wonderful things you are doing, giving back to the states, to the society and everything. This thing you are doing is a lot. If you measure it and try to quantify it and attach funds to it, maybe we cannot afford it. I want to say thank you. And to the good people of Kaduna State for patiently and painstakingly listening to what we have said these are current realities and issues. We cannot do it alone, but with you and with God, all things are possible. Come, let's join hands together. We can work these things out. And to the rich men that were privileged to be in government and have taken, it's time for you to do restitution. Go back, pray to God, fast, and find a way of making arrangement. When we come on board, we know how to receive these monies and allocate them. And you'll be part of us. We are going to see how we will work together and save this country. To our young men, please don't be angry. Go and get your PVCs. Let's say thank you to El-Rufai's government and his people. My former home, you thank us at least. We are thanking them. They have done their bit. Now let people that are going to face realities and face the people and work together with the people, bring them on board, give us an ample opportunity to lead government. You will be the ones to tell the story. I want to say thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, too. And the program has been The Agenda. And Honorable Ben Kure, State Chairman, New Nigeria People's Party, and NPP, with us this morning. And I also like to thank Yusuf Goje and Lawrence Obewe of the Issues-Based Campaign Organization. It's a partnership with Invicta Radio, and we'll be doing all of these come Thursday at this time of 9 a.m. till this moment. Job Daniel, my colleague, thank you for connecting us with the people. And Wisdom, we thank you for putting